Hey, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. If all goes well, this should be released on Christmas Eve. So you start by saying Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas. Let's get that music playing, that Christmas music that we had on the last episode. Get everybody in the spirit. And if you're not already and it's Christmas Eve, that may be a problem. But wanted to get kind of a quick episode in here before Christmas. I this past weekend, yesterday. Today's Monday as I record, so Saturday and Sunday. Played my 97th and 98th rounds of the year. So closing in on really my one primary goal that I had this year, which was to play 100 rounds of golf. So the next episode, I'll have accomplished that, barring any weather disasters. I will have gotten to my goal of 100 rounds, and it'll be a good time to recap. How did that go? My belief was that in order to play better golf, I had to play more golf, and that the people I see out on the course that play good golf play a lot of golf, and a lot of golf to me is 2 or 3 times a week. So that was my commitment for 2025, was to get out and play 100 rounds of golf. And I want to talk about that. How did it go? Did I accomplish the things that I had hoped to accomplish? And where do I go from here? Which honestly will probably be the next episode. After recapping 2025, it'll be a good time to look out to 2026, create a New Year's resolution list. What kinds of things do I want to accomplish in 2026? And would love to hear from you. Would love to know what you're working on in 2026. But before I get to my 2 rounds of golf that I played this weekend, I did want to start today by talking about YouTube golf, which, as I explained in the last episode, is a bit of an addiction. Love YouTube golf. Actually, podcasting is cutting into my YouTube golf time. That may be a problem, but wanted to send everybody out to watch what I think was a great video. Came out last week. It is on Bryson DeChambeau's channel, and it is a YouTube golf invitational sponsored by Reebok. $100,000 in prize money on the line. And basically it's Bryson, it's the Bryan brothers, so Wesley Bryan and George Bryan, Grant Horvat, Martin Borgmeyer, and Jimmy Elliot. And if you don't know who Jimmy Elliot is, and I didn't know who Jimmy Elliot was, I'm gonna post this video, a link to this video in the show notes, but I'm also gonna post a link to another video. And the other video I'm gonna post some time ago, I think it was earlier this year, Bryson was doing YouTube shorts where every day he would hit golf balls over his house trying to make a hole-in-one. And he'd come back every day basically until he did it. And finally he did. Finally he did hit a ball over his house and made a hole-in-one. Well, at some point after he made the hole-in-one, he selected a random fan to come to his house and gave them 7 hours to make a hole-in-one over his house. And if they made that hole-in-one, they would win $100,000. Jimmy Elliot was the fan who was selected to do that. So it's good to go back and watch that, to see Jimmy take on that $100,000 challenge. And then to see him out here in this video. And I'll tell you what, Jimmy is a player. And you'll see that as this video goes on. So the other person involved in this video is Alex Chapman. So if Bryson wins the tournament, he is not going to keep the $100,000. He basically selected another random fan. Alex Chapman is that random fan. He's out on the course so they can get his reactions as the day goes on. But basically, if Bryson wins, he's going to give the $100,000 to Alex Chapman. It's a stroke play tournament. At the beginning of the video, they all meet in a boardroom to discuss how many strokes each player should get to make it a fair competition. And that's fun, just to hear them banter going back and forth, trying to, look, it's $100,000. Everybody's trying to find an advantage and get the strokes that they think will help them go out there and win. So the boardroom's a lot of fun, but the real magic happens out on the course. I don't want to spoil it. Maybe the next video, I'm sorry, the next podcast, I'll talk about what happened. But if you haven't watched it yet, it is a long one. I think it's almost a 3-hour video, but I enjoyed it. And interestingly enough, my wife enjoyed it. And I think the only other one, she watches a little bit off and on, but was the Internet Invitational that was for $1 million that happened, I don't know, I guess about a month ago now. She was really into that. And I couldn't watch the next episode until she was there because she wanted to see what happened. So she knew some of these people, and I think she was really excited when I explained to her who Jimmy was and that he's just some regular guy. He's a financial planner, has a day job, and he's out here playing against guys like Bryson and Wesley and George, which are legit professional golfers. Grant's an excellent golfer. Martin Borgmeyer, long drive guy, but Martin can play golf. Like, I've seen him on a few different channels, and he's skilled. So it's fun to see just the average Joe thrown in with this group and see how he does. So if you haven't watched it, check it out. I think it's a great video. And like I said, maybe next week I'll talk a little bit more about it and give my thoughts on what happened. So, and again, link in the show notes. So let's talk about my couple of rounds of golf this weekend. And I'll start by saying that in the last podcast, I had said that I'd been playing pretty good golf for me. So good golf for me, certainly rounds in the 80s are good rounds of golf, but I had 4 rounds in a row that all lowered my handicap, which is unusual. If you have a handicap and you put things in the GIN app, you'll know that on your card, it's of your last 20 scores, basically 8 of them, your 8 best scores, go towards your handicap. So it's not unusual to have one count and 1 or 2 not count and another one count. So 4 in a row that count is a pretty good stretch of golf. And I think when I said that out loud, I must have angered the golf gods because it came back to bite me this weekend. But to back up a little bit, and maybe I don't know if I've done it lately, but give a GOLFTEC update. So I joined GOLFTEC in July of this year. So obviously it's been a few months now as we're in December, and I work weekly with my golf coach, Reggie. And it's been good. When I started in GOLFTEC in July, I was a 21 handicap, down to 16 in less than 6 months. We've worked a lot on posture, the golf swing, trying to hit consistent shot shapes, and we worked on driver, we worked on irons. But most recently, what we've been working on are clubs that I generally do not take out of my golf bag. So that would be a 4 hybrid, which I call the unhittable, because I can't hit it. And I've owned the club for nearly 2 years now. It looks brand new because I'll take it out on the range, completely top chunk miss 3 or 4 shots, wipe it off, put the head cover back on, and put it back in my bag. But never does it come out in a real round of golf. And my 3-wood, which there was a time where I hit 3-wood really well. And I think as I've worked on my irons, that my ability to hit 3-wood has gone away. And it does leave a gap in my game. I max out with 5-iron, which is 190 to 200 yard shot, but I really don't have anything beyond that. And it would be good to have a 3-wood. So the last few weeks, that's what we've been working on is 3-wood, 4 hybrid. And I've been hitting driver as well. I'm still working on that. And Reggie made the point again a few weeks ago when he asked how I do with these clubs on the course. And I said, well, I never take these clubs out on the course. And he said, well, why not? I said, because I can't hit them. And his response was, well, you're never going to be able to hit them if you don't try and you don't learn how to hit them. And he's right. He's 100% right. But it's a real frustration to pull those clubs out after, maybe I hit a good drive and I'm in a position where I can put up a good score on the hole, and I pull one of those clubs out and things go terribly wrong. But I agree with him. It's the wrong attitude. If I want to see my game continue to progress, I have got to work on being able to hit these clubs. So that being said, going into Saturday's round, I swore to myself that if the distance was right, if the opportunity was right, I was going to pull 3-wood out of my bag, and I was going to pull the unhittable 4 hybrid out of my bag. And whatever happened, happened. And if it didn't go well, it didn't go well. But like I said, I had been hitting them better in practice and needed to take that out into the course and see how it went. So first hole of the day, hit a good drive and it's a par 5. So it's par 5, the first hole of the day. I think I had 230 or 240 into the green. Now, normally, this is a place where I'd take that number and I'd say, all right, what I really want in on my third shot is maybe 120 yards. So it's probably going to be 2 pitching wedges. I'm going to hit a pitching wedge and hit another pitching wedge, get on in 3. If I'm close, maybe I have a shot at making birdie. If not, I make par and I walk away. But that is not what I did this week. I looked at it and I said, if I hit the 3-wood well, I may actually be able to get to the green. So pull the 3-wood out, swing it, top the ball. It rolls forward about 10 yards. And I just kind of dropped my head, but it's okay. Like I said, this is what I was going to do. I was going to use this club. I was going to hit this club and see how it goes. So no need to get back in the cart after a topped 10-yard fairway wood. So I walk back up and say, you know what? I'm going to hit it again, which I did. And this one I hit well. Hit it well enough that it ended up in the green side bunker, which is in front of the green. If I had been a little better directionally, I think the ball may have gotten to the green, but ends up in bunker right front of the green and leaves me a lengthy bunker shot. So the pin is in the back of the green. The ball had rolled into the front of the bunker. So I'd say it was probably a 25 or 30 yard bunker shot that I hit. Like, you would see me hit that shot and say, this guy has got serious bunker game. So the ball landed about 5 feet from the hole and checked up. All of my playing partners terribly impressed. Now I know, crazy luck, but every once in a while you hit a good one out of the bunker. Unfortunately, I missed my 5-foot par putt, tapped in for bogey, and moved on to the second hole. On the second hole, I teed off with 3-wood. Now this is a hole, it's a par 4, but it's short. I think generally plays about 320. And normally it's a hole where I would hit 6-iron. So hit 6-iron, call it 170, 180, and I've got 140 in, and I like those numbers. But again, said, all right, I'm going to hit 3-wood off the tee, and if I can hit it 220 or 230, that leaves me, a short shot into the green. Again, hit it poorly. A little further this time. May have hit it 40 yards, but not a great shot. Kept the 3-wood out, hit it again, and I guess I just have to hit it twice every time. But the second time, I hit it pretty well, end up in another bunker. So I'm in the bunker in front of the green, but left side of the green this time. And after my fantastic bunker shot on one, my bunker game came back down to earth. My first attempt to get out of the bunker didn't go well at all because the ball was still in the bunker after I hit it. My next attempt, I bladed the ball over the green and into the water on the far side. So made a complete mess of the second hole. The third hole, par 3, I believe I bogeyed the par 3 third and then went on to 4. On the fourth hole, the same kind of deal. Short par 4, but there's water. And if you want to drive the green, you've got to be able to carry probably 250 or 260, which I can't. So I always lay up on this hole. Almost everybody does. And it's another 6-iron hole. If I hit a 6-iron, it leaves me generally 100 yards in. But this was an opportunity to hit the unhittable club, to hit the 4 hybrid. So I pull out the 4 hybrid, hit it pretty well, but hooked it, and the ball moved left. And on the left side of the fairway is water, the same water you would have to carry to get to the green. The ball did not go in the water, but it landed just on the fringe. There's a slope that goes down, is pretty steep into the lake. So in a tough spot where I really don't have a place to stand to hit the next shot. So I took it unplayable, put the ball in a place where I could hit it over the green, and made a total mess of the fourth hole. So just to make a long story short, I was 8 over through 4. And while the rest of the day got better, I didn't continue that pace of double bogey everywhere. I struggled, honestly, to hit everything. Driver, irons. It's an interesting thing, but as well as I've been hitting irons, as I've moved to practicing to try and hit these other clubs, I think it impacts the way that I hit irons. And the one part of my game that I'm really confident in, I'm beginning to lose some confidence. So the whole day was a struggle. And at the end of the day, I ended up shooting a legitimate 94. The GIN app adjusted it to a 93, which, I don't know, I guess it depends on how I look at it. If I'd shot an 88 or an 89, I probably would have been happy. So I guess I could look at that and think, it's only 5 or 6 strokes. But it's really the way I played that bothered me. Couldn't compress my irons, just didn't hit anything really well. Some of the stats, I hit 21% of fairways, which is terrible. 32 putts on the day. I mean, 4 up and downs. And interesting number, I hit 0 greens in regulation. 0, none, nilch, nada. And that goes back to the irons, that my distances were off. My left to right dispersion was not good. And I did not hit a single green in regulation the whole day. And it took me a little while, but I had to go back quite a while because I started thinking, when is the last time I went through a round of golf and did not hit a single green in regulation? And the last time that happened was a little more than 40 rounds ago. It was in July, and it was right after my first GOLFTEC lesson that completely, I don't want to say completely changed my golf swing, but it completely changed the way I looked at my golf swing. And that first round after that lesson, I went out and I had so much stuff in my head that I could barely hit the golf ball. And on that day, I shot 108 and 0 greens in regulation. So that's what I'm saying, that while the score, and again, it's all relative, you may say a 93 or 94 is terrible, but the reality is I'm averaging, I think over my last 20 rounds, I'm averaging 91. So not that far off of my average, but what bothered me was it was a real struggle. So again, you can look at it one of two ways: that not hitting a zero green, not feeling like you could hit anything, only being a few strokes over the average means I battled pretty hard throughout the day. The other excuse that I'll make, and I made this on the golf course because all great golfers have great excuses, is that on Friday night, I stayed up way past my bedtime. So I stayed up late on Friday night to watch Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua and didn't go to bed until about midnight. And then I didn't sleep well. Like, I figured I was up late, I'd hit the bed, sleep well, pop up at 6 a.m. and get out to the golf course. And it just didn't work out that way. So at least this is what I'm telling myself, right? That I was sleep deprived. We always joke around on Saturday that Saturday's the practice round after not having played all week, that the one that really matters is on Sunday. So that's what I said. Hey, today was my practice round. I'll come out, I'll get after it tomorrow, and I'll have a better day, which leads us into Sunday. So Sunday was not, it was a little bit better, but it was not much better of a day. So we'll open up again, the first hole, par 5. This time I hit the 3-wood again on my approach shot. Didn't go in the bunker, but it went to where I had to pitch over that bunker to the green, which is what I attempted to do with a sand wedge, basically 56 degree, that I bladed and hit it over the green into the rough on the far side. Now, I was either too lazy or maybe I was just apathetic, but after hitting that shot, I was frustrated, and I should have gone back to the cart, dropped off the 56 degree and picked up my pitching wedge, which is what I would normally use for the next shot, but I didn't. Walked across the green, walked to the other side, still had the sand wedge in my hands, tried to chip up onto the green with that. It didn't go well. I left it short of the green. And from there, I pulled the putter out. I was still, I wouldn't even call it fringe. I was in a little grass off to the side, but I was so aggravated with that club was that I'm just going to putt from here. So I ended up making a triple on the first hole, the first par 5. And immediately came into my mind, I'm like, I can't believe it, because on Saturday I had made bogey. Like, I can't believe I could possibly do worse on Sunday. Can I do worse than 8 over through 4, which is where I was on Saturday? Takes me to the second hole. The second hole is rinse and repeat. I hit the 4 hybrid. I drove with the 4 hybrid and hit it okay. And then I think I had a 9-iron in that I put in the same bunker to the left of the green where I was the day before. So I just went through that. The day before, my first bunker shot didn't get out of the bunker. The second one, I bladed over into the water. So I was still, that was in my head. On Sunday, it took me 3 shots to get out of the bunker. Not 1, not 2, 3 attempts to get out of the bunker. And made triple on the second hole. So now I'm 6 over after 2. We get to the par 3 third. I hit not a good iron. This is usually a hole that I like. It did not hit an iron well, kind of thin, came up short, but I chipped up, made a putt to save par, and then takes us to the 4th, which is the hole that's over water, hit the layup. At this point, it's like, I have to do something here. So I pulled out 6-iron, which is what I normally hit on this hole. Same thing, did not hit it well, a little thin, but left me about 125 yards in, hit pitching wedge, which for me, that's a good number. Again, another thin iron that hit the hill on the far side of the lake and started to roll back towards the water. It stopped an inch from going into the water. There's a little, it's strong to call it a beach, like a little sandy area. And I think just because the water level was a little low. So I was able to walk down the hill. I played it from there. I hit actually a pretty good chip that, I'm sorry, a pitch that landed about 8 feet from the hole and made a par putt. So I started Sunday 6 over through 4, which is better than the Saturday 8 over through 4. But as the day went on, it was the same thing as the day before. I struggled. I didn't hit the irons well, didn't make good contact. I finally hit a green in regulation on the par 3 7th, which I think was playing 155 or 160 yards. And I hit 8 iron onto the green. I did make par there. But that was after 24 holes, 18 on Saturday, 6 on Sunday. I finally hit my first green in regulation. And believe it or not, that was the last one all day. So for the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I hit 1 green in regulation, which is just terrible. So the front 9, it continued to be a struggle. And I shot 49 on the front versus Saturday, I shot 51 on the front. So on the back, and I told myself, because I've shot 40 on the back before. So it's 49 on the front. I can go out, I can shoot 40 on the back. I could still break 90 today and I could shoot 89. So I was trying everything I could to mentally stay in it. But the ball striking was just not good. So I was 6 over through my first 6 holes on the back, which put me at 19 over through 15. So to shoot an 89, it's the par 72 for the course. I would have had to been 17 over to shoot 89. I get to 16, which is a par 3, and it's my favorite hole in the course. It generally plays between 160 and 175, and I think it was playing right at 165 on Sunday. And on the tee box, I said to myself, like, come on, let's go here. We like this hole. Let's hit a good shot here, and let's see what happens. We got 3 holes left to play. So I did. I hit a good 7 iron. It was into the wind. It came up left of a little short, a little left. So I'm on the fringe about 15 feet away from the hole. And from the fringe, I made a birdie putt. So now I'm back to 18 over through 16. Doesn't sound likely, but hey, a par and a birdie gets me back to 17 over and I shoot an 89. On the par 5 17th, I almost always miss that fairway to the left, which brings this big tree into play. And I've hit it many, many times. And I always judge that I'm chopping that tree down one shot at a time. So I swore to myself on Sunday, I am not missing left. And I didn't, but I missed right. Didn't hit the fairway, missed right. But still, it's a better miss. So I was still at that point committed to hitting clubs that I don't normally hit. Par 5, I've got, a good way still in. I pull out the 3-wood and I hit it thin. I'd say it traveled about 100 yards. I ended up in the rough on the right, which isn't great because it's a dog leg right. And I was still 175 yards out. But I could see the left third of the green and felt like it's possible. I could hit a shot and I could get there. So while I was in the rough, the ball was sitting up. I had a good lie in the rough and decided enough of messing around with woods and hybrids. So I pulled out my 6 iron. And for the first time, really in 2 days, I compressed the ball. I hit my 175 yard 6 iron about 200 yards. And the ball came to rest behind a palm tree. My cart mate that day, Dan, he couldn't believe it. He's like, what club did you hit? And how far out were you? Because it was an absolute rocket, but it left me in just an awful spot. So from where I was, I had no shot at the green. I had to chip out sideways just to get an angle into the green. And then after that, I chipped on. So it was my third shot to chip out, my fourth shot to chip on. I 3-putted from there, and I was frustrated. I was rushed, and the day was over at that ball. Basically, I just, I knew that any chance of shooting in the 80s was gone. I go to the 18th. I leave a drive right again. I hit my approach shot right of the green, but hit a good chip, make a putt, finish with a par. And on Sunday, I shot a 93, which the GIN app again adjusted to a 92. So 94, 93, not great rounds of golf. My handicap that had been down to a 16.2 jumped all the way up to 16.9 because I had a round of 85 come off and a round of, I think it was 90 or 91 that replaced it. So that's my golf weekend. Not great, but this happens. I think golf, like with a lot of things, is 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. I'm not where I need to be. I need to continue to work on ball striking with everything, with my driver, with my irons, the hybrid, the 3-wood, work on my putting. I felt like my game was moving in a better direction. Again, I think that the good news is I shot 93, 94. I didn't shoot 108, but the fact that I only hit 1 green over the course of 2 days it's not good. It's something that I have got to be better at. So just to finish recapping Sunday, 36% of fairways hit. I only hit 1 green in regulation, took 31 putts, made 5 up and downs, and I had the 1 birdie on 16. So one of the other things is that, and Reggie, again, who's my GOLFTEC coach, and I have discussed this, that my training, the teaching has been indoors on a simulator, and it's good. I think I've learned a lot there, but part of this process is also to get outside. So what we did talk about this week is I have to get outside. And in January, that's the plan, is to take the teaching out and chip and putt on real grass, hit shots out of a bunker. I just think hitting on a mat doesn't give you a true indication of where your golf game is. Because if you do hit the ball a little fat and the club comes down too early, it quite often bounces off the mat and slides through the ball, and it can hide what really was not a great shot. Whereas out on the golf course, you're going to dig into the ground and chunk a shot. So that's important for me. It's important for me to get outside and, from a teaching, learning perspective, hit balls off of grass, out of the sand, putt on greens. And that is the plan, to do that in January, which will be a good thing. Beyond that, I have a 7:15 tee time for Christmas morning. The golf course is open. I'll be out and back probably before everybody else is awake in my house, and everybody else is my wife and my 25-year-old son. So it's not like when the kids were little and they were waiting for to get up in the morning and go down and open Christmas presents. I'll look forward to that. Will be my Christmas present, is to get out and play golf. And then the plan will be to play Saturday and Sunday. That will take me to 101 rounds of golf. And next week, you'll get that recap. And I'll talk about how those 100 rounds went, how my year in golf went, and what worked, what didn't, and just wrap up 2025. So, like I said earlier, wanted to get a quick one in today, give everybody an update. My golf game did go backwards a little bit this week, but that's okay. The temperature's getting nicer. I think I'm going to be able to set the golf net up and the Rapsodo in the garage and start hitting golf balls in my garage again, which I was going to say last year. It was really probably early this year, January, February, March. I did a lot of that, and it really helped my golf game. So looking forward to that, and I'm just going to keep working at it. This game is not easy. It feels great to go forward. It feels great to see the handicap go down, but sometimes you go back, and it's just a reminder that there's still things to work on, and my weaknesses were pointed out to me this weekend, and so I know what I need to work on. But that's it. Quickie today. I really appreciate everybody tuning in to listen. Would love to hear from you. Drop me a line. Leave me a comment. How do you feel when your golf game goes backwards? Are you willing to go out on the golf course and take chances, hit clubs that you're not comfortable with in an effort to improve your overall game, knowing that on that day, they may hurt you, but short-term pain for long-term gain, I guess. Are you willing to do that? Let me know. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how your golf game's coming along. We'll continue to work at this, do it together, and I look forward to being back next week, doing the 100-round recap and wrapping up 2025. So thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas.